My name is Ardella Birdzone, and my concern is last year I just got my tax bill for this coming year, and I was so it just really just broke my heart to see just how much it have gone up since last year's tax bill. My tax bill for this year is $2,000 and almost $300. Last year it was 15, just a little over 1,500. And a lot of things on my tax bill, I would like for somebody to explain to me because I do not understand a lot of this stuff on here. I have tons of stuff from the water district here that I do not understand what's going on. And I'm very unhappy about this. Because first of all, it was a devastating thing to put the sewage bill. I could manage things better when I had it coming to me rather than paying it in with my mortgage because everything is compound. And now, no telling what I will be paying for my mortgage this coming year because of the fact all this other stuff. It's $800 more this year on my property than I had to pay last year. So I'm very upset about that.
My concern is the very same thing as Ms. Birdsong. Putting that sewage bill on there, to me, Rosamond have a lot of senior citizens, a lot of people up here, and when you add $477 plus $50 to the lighting for here, people in Rosamond, let me speak for myself. I can't afford it. When I was working, it wouldn't have been a problem because I was labor relations representative. It wasn't a problem. But with me not working, being on a much smaller amount of money coming in monthly than what I had when I was working, it's different. Now, if I was sitting on the board and getting $140 a meeting times 6, I know it's allowed 2, but you up to 6 in a lot of instances, then I wouldn't have a problem meeting my extra obligation. I don't think that when that decision was made, that you were not thinking of the people in this town. I don't know what it was, but if you were thinking of the people in this town, I don't think you would have done it. And I think if you would ask the people that's sitting out here, I think they would say the very same thing. I don't understand the lighting, because in some sections, the lighting is one amount on some people property tax.
Yes, that's right.
And then on other people, it's different. Now, I've been to a lot of meetings. At first, when I was looking, I know that you can do a bill call in. But I was saying, my goodness, do they have a quorum tonight?
Yes.
I understand that you do because by phone.
It only takes 3.
That only takes 3. Very good. But it's just upsetting whenever you do things like that. It's very upsetting to me. Very upsetting.
My name is Phyllis Johnson. I recently moved here in 2013, and I recently bought property, which I feel the same way they feel. Even though I'm working, it's still a really burden on me to have to add that sewage bill onto my end of the month bills, because the taxes, I like her, you know, I've been to school and everything, but this is kind of complicated for me to understand. And I have called the, called numbers to find out why is these charges getting added to our taxes and why are they so high? Because it's really unfair. I am a single person here, you know, and I moved to this town specifically because the property taxes are cheaper than living in LA County. And I do have a problem with looking at a bill and actually seeing stuff from Lancaster on a property tax bill, you know, that's in Kern County. I don't feel like I should have to pay for anything that originates from another county.
You're paying for the college.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's,
Ma'am, can I make a quick comment? First of all, I agree with, some of those concerns we have. One of the problems that Roseman has, a lot of our things is part of regional, that's southern regional type things there. And they also have something on there from AVAC. Antelope Valley East Current, they could have things in there because where we're situated, a lot of the things are generated.
and I do know that they have partnerships with LA County.
Well,
because of our,
but again, our community uses a lot of those. The water, AVAC, that's the big water agency for us.
and that was on the bill last year.
They know.
So, I was told that,
Okay.
that was on the bill last
About
year.
the college, so I can make two suggestions to you about it. I don't know how much we can help to clarify some of it, but I can ask the staff to go over there and ask them what's what and how it comes up, just so we'll have an understanding. It may not change a lot of it, but I know I've been here for 22 years. There are a lot of things that have been on our property tax bills in different parts, but one of the disadvantages we have is where we're situated, and by us feeding in, getting services out that way, a lot of times we're helping support those various entities.
And, but my main problem was the sewer bill being added on to the end of my taxes. Because it did increase mine quite a bit from last year. And I don't think it's fair for people just to get this thrown on them at the 11th hour. And I don't understand the purpose of it. What was the problem with just paying it every month on your regular water bill? Is it?
Okay, ma'am, I know a lot of people here are going to be talking about the same thing, and when everybody says everything, I will attempt to answer all your questions and explain everything on the sewer bill and things like this.
Well, what I have to say, I understand that and I appreciate it. But do we have a say in this being done this way? Because I don't agree with it, period. I don't agree with it. I didn't sign off for it. I didn't sign my signature to approve anything like this. I would have preferred to keep mine the same way. And that's basically all I have to say.
One thing you have to keep in mind, the full board didn't vote for that. I voted against it.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
The people that's up there, could you tell us how you voted?
Because I
What
don't
we'll
think
do
they would
when
think.
all the comments are
Everybody's
finished,
comments are made.
well, because you have to also remember, there's a reason for a vote. And a lot of folks make it sound like it's a targeting or so.
I understand, I said on boards today.
After everyone's done, if you like, I voted for it, and I can tell you why, if you want to hear it afterwards. But let's get everyone an opportunity to get their say so out.
Well, again, my name is Darlene Wells, and I've been a resident out here for 8 years. And within those 8-year time, my taxes has increased. One thing I would like to address to the board, when you guys are addressing the audience, you guys can spend money on, what you call it, doing surveys and stuff like that. At board meetings that I've seen on TV, they have a microphone because you guys have a tendency still to talk to each other, but we can't hear that well what you're saying. And I know that I have a slight problem in one of my ears, okay? So you need to do something. As far as being a proper board, get you some microphones and put in front of you so we can understand what you're saying, okay? I have a, okay. Number 2, I wanted to tell people that those numbers on there you can call, but they've been charging some residents on my side, all of us, street sweeping. Just for instance, there hasn't been a street sweeper to come out over these are home in 7 years. But I called, and so those that have it on your tax bill, thank me, because the next year you won't be paying for 6 years. And call the county and tell them that no street sweeper has come over where you live. because they're charging you for that. And also, in addition, I don't understand why the AVAC water debt is so high. It says $114.19, and I'm addressing the issue that is everybody paying that same amount, $114.19.
No, I'm paying more.
Huh?
No,
I pay more.
You
I
pay-
don't remember
Some
exactly
paying
what
more.
mine is, Darlene.
It's right there under general
Yeah,
local
mine,
government.
I think was about 103 or 106 or something like that.
Mine's 120.
Hey, that's, we have no jurisdiction over that. That's a whole separate entity.
It has
They
nothing
have
to
their
do
own
with us
board
at
of
all.
directors.
Well, it has something to do with RCSD, that's what they told me.
No, they do not.
ABAC is completely separate. Their board meetings are on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month in Forts Hill.
You know, what I'm saying is that, it seemed like to me, as a homeowner, I thought you had rights. But every day our democracy is under threat. We're living under dictatorship. I don't think that it's fair for you to say, well, this is going on the Wells tax bill, because you don't know my circumstances. You don't know my income. You guys probably retired. You still work. You have a different income than me. Okay? So I understand what you say sometimes when I have to pay the same thing. But your income is totally different from mine. Okay? Because you have more years working and you still working and you guys get money from the board and so on and so forth. But what I just want to say, that this sewage bill charge, and then you want to charge us for the lighting on Rosamond Boulevard when I'm already paying lighting. Who was paying for that before? I don't care if it is only $1. That might be $1 more that might hurt me. You understand what I'm saying? Who was paying for the lighting on the Rosamond Boulevard before?
It was always on your bill.
No, it wasn't. No, sir.
It probably was, but it was a lot less.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was $1.
Ma'am, I'll be happy to answer those questions for you.
Well, I wish somebody would answer, because you guys always say that,
I will-
but I mean, I've been coming up here to these meetings, and I still have not got any results to feel satisfied within my heart. Because with, right here, it tells me that something is not right. And I am truly a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ.
So
Okay?
what?
So, it's something that's wrong.
My name is Nick Whalen. I've been living here in Roseland since February of 1982. Okay, so it's a long time. I live up on, right up on, right up on the, right now, see what it says on my bill here. Okay, I got my P.O. box and not my street address. That's from the property tax people. Anyhow, it's the avenue goes right across from Sierra Highway over to Route 14, okay? As you're going up the hill towards where they had the water tanks and so on, okay? And in any event, what I saw, by the way, at the time this thing came out, I guess it was April of this year, that the Mojave Desert News wrote an article about it. I was in the hospital for over a 4-month period there, so I missed out on all that stuff going on.
Can you speak up, sir, so we can hear what you're saying?
Oh, can't hear it through here?
No, you can't.
Oh, sorry.
Speaking of Mike better.
There we go.
Okay. Well, how about this now?
It's very
Okay.
good. That's good.
Okay, thank you. So what I did was I looked over the article there saying how this was initiated. And what I was looking at on here, that 3-2 approval vote named the people who were dissenting on it. And the flat rate base sewer fees will now go on the Kern County property tax rolls instead of monthly water bills. And I'm asking myself, what, who authorized that? And I can see that there would be discussions on this, but why wasn't the general public made aware of that? Now, you say that you have meetings periodically, what is it, twice a month or what? Okay.
Twice.
And this year, I was in the hospital again this year for 3 months, okay? So in any event, I didn't get to any of those meetings, but what I wanted to find out was who authorized this? Who had the authority to do that? I don't see that this has any germane thing to tax property per se. Now, I know you're in a bind financially, it says so right here, that RCSD was losing around $150,000 a year in sewer revenues from vacant properties and delinquencies. That's not me. It's probably not the people here either, okay? So what I'm saying is, I would like to have somebody answer some questions. So for example, there we are. Who determined this? What is the, and of course, if it's going to cost $150,000, it says around $150,000. How round is that? I mean, you can be more specific.
I can answer those questions for you.
Okay. And again, I come back to this, who permitted this? Who authorized this? In Kern County, I mean, I've always paid my my taxes on time, and same thing for the water bill, too, for that matter. Now, I don't have a great water bill, okay, because I don't use a lot of water. But I do, I have 2 1/4 acres of land, by the way. Pretty much it's desert property there, okay. Some wild bushes out there occasionally, and of course I have to take those down and help the fire department so there's no fires, okay, things like that. Again, I've listened to all these ladies, and they had good comments to be made here, okay. And just as them, and I've been here a lot longer perhaps, but I've never had a problem with the water district. And all of a sudden, there is a problem now that I think has to be explained to us, the people of the, who reside here.
And everything. And hopefully, after everybody's had their comments, I will explain everything, hopefully answer everybody's questions. If I haven't answered everybody's questions, raise your hand, I'll be happy to answer them. But I think I can clear a lot of these things up. There's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of confusion, a lot of questions why, and I think when I'm done, you still may not agree, but at least you'll know why, and you'll have the question answered. That's all I can hope to do.
Okay. Now, just to let you know, it came to me, Hillcrest Avenue, okay, goes completely across east through west. And I hear what you say there, but I still would like to have an explanation on that. By the way, I'm not paying a large increase as some of the people have been given, but it has been a significant increase, and I just don't see why I have to pay that additional amount more. There must be another, should be another way, but I believe in this, that we should find out who authorizes. And I don't know how much authority you have as a board. Okay, you do have, you run the RCSD, I understand that. Steve Perez is the manager of the team there, I guess, on that. Does he have a vote, by the way?
No.
No.
Okay, just want to check on that too. I knew Steve years ago in the sheriff's department. I was there for 10 years. So, okay, well, thank you for the time.
I too got my property tax bill this week, and I took a look at it and I says, holy smoke, this is going to create some hate and discontent. My tax bill went from $640 to $1040 every 6 months. And it wasn't only because of the sewer bill, it was because the evaluation of the property went up from like $100,000 to $130,000. And that was a big hunk of the increase. I'm lucky, my house is still on payment, so, but I can't wait to see what my escrow impounds are going to be, and that should be an exciting figure to get. But I knew that was, when I saw that bill, I thought, boy, this is probably just the tip of the iceberg here. You know, so stand by. I think there's more to come.
The office has been getting nothing else.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I want to try to start it. Oh, anybody else want to make a comment to the board?
I want to just interject one more thing.
Okay, ma'am, I want to give everybody a chance, and then I'm going to go ahead and answer a lot of these questions, and after that, we'll take any other questions that people have to try to clarify things up. Okay, I got my tax bill yesterday as well, and my tax bill is $2,660. And part of that is the school fees went up. The sewer fee is on there now, and $477, which is split into two payments. The first payment is due in December. The second payment is due, I believe, in April. They also increased the value of my house by $40,000 and increased the 1% valuation property tax. What the reason is that a lot of people have talked about Proposition 218 and that this board didn't go to the public for a vote on putting the property tax on your, putting the sewer fee on your property tax. This was not a 218 mandated item because we did not raise your taxes. We did not add a tax to you. We simply took a bill that you were already paying, which was $39 and change, and put that on your property tax instead of on your water bill. And the reason it was brought to this board was very simple. When you talk about the $150,000 approximately, what happened is that to determine our rates, which in 2009 determined the rates to be $39 and I believe 70 cents. And what they had to do a study. And we have over 5,000 connections in this community. So what we did is that rate was based upon all connections paying that bill every month, the $39.70. And so therefore, in that, to come up with $39.70 instead of $39.72 or $39.80, is that a study has to be done. It has to figure out what it's going to cost to maintain the system, repair the system, upgrade the system when it needs to be upgraded. And so we discovered that rental properties, landlords that own rental houses, that not all of them do this. Some landlords pay the water bill and keep the water turned on their properties all year round. But a lot of them don't. A lot of them have their tenants pay the water bill. And as long as they have somebody living in the house with a water bill going to that property, then that $40 a month, and I'm just going to round it off to the nearest one, sewer fee gets paid. When the house sits empty, and with it tied to the water bill, then that sewer bill does not get paid. So what that ends up doing, that all of you sitting out here that pay that bill every single month, 12 months out of the year, it causes you to make up for what they're not paying. Which means down the road, we have to raise that rate up from $39.70 to $42 or $43, whatever it has to be, to make up the difference. And that's not fair to people that are paying it every month, that they should have to have their rates raised to make up for those that aren't paying every month. So we felt that the easiest way to do this would be to put it on the property tax. And that way everybody pays it and pays their fair share. And if you're paying that $39.70 every month on your water bill, then it's not taking an extra dime out of your pocket than what you were already paying. And the money is just being collected over here instead of being collected monthly over here. But we felt it was the most equitable way to treat the people that do pay it every month fairly, and making sure that they're not supplementing rental properties, which is a business. And you shouldn't be supplementing somebody else's business. So that is the reason why we voted to put it on the property tax. My property tax went up. But the one thing about it is that the valuation of my home went up. That's more money on my property tax. The school bonds were, there's some school fees on there, some ABEC fees, things like that. If they go up, that's because that's more money out of my pocket. The only one that's not costing me any more is the sewer fee, because I was already paying that every month regardless. And yes, my escrow company is gonna probably raise my house payment up $40 a month or $45 a month, whatever it might be, to make up the difference, and so be it. I can pay them all at once if I want to, if I want to keep my house payment the same. So, you know, we feel that to be fair to everybody, that's why we did it. Because now, keep in mind, $39.70.
It's $39.90, it's not $70.
Okay, we're $39.90, and that's why I just call it $40. But the point is, ma'am, is that if we want to raise it to $40.10, then by law, that's when Prop 218 comes into effect. That's when we have to go out to the people, and you all get to vote on whether we get to increase that sewer fee 20 cents per month or over the year, because that's how Prop 218 works.
I got a question.
Hold on, please. So, now who determined it? That was this board and this agency. And the decision that was made, it was made what we felt was best for the entire community and not just a few people that aren't paying it. Now, I understand that people are upset about it being on their property tax. But, you know, I knew it was coming when we passed it back in April. And yes, I'm one of the ones that voted for it. And I voted for it because I felt it was the right thing to do. So the thing is that, you know, I'm hoping this clears up the questions. The street lighting, that was a new tax. That's why the ballots went out and the people voted on the street lighting. If your zone voted 12 to 10 to keep the street lights on, then everybody in that zone is going to pay that street lighting fee. As far as the ones out on Roseland Boulevard, that's arterial lighting. That is being paid by the $2 a month that's on your water bill. A lot of people have said, well, why didn't we just increase that $2 a month to, you know, I mean, excuse me, $1 a month to $2 a month, or to $3 a month? We can't. We can't do it by law. We cannot put new bills like that on the water bill. They were there already, they were existing. What happens is that some of the new housing tracts that have been built since 2005, they already pay for their street lighting on their property tax. They've been doing it since 2005. What we've reached here is that the rest of the community, the money we are collecting each month on the water bill is not enough to pay it. The electricity bill is more than the money coming in. So simple mathematics is, we had to get the people to go out and say, okay, we want to keep the street lights on in our neighborhood, and they vote for it or vote against it. My neighborhood was voted down. They said no, we're not going to. More people voted no than voted yes. Did everybody in my zone vote? No, they didn't. But it's just like any election. You have an election with where presidents and senators and governors are decided by 20% of the registered voters, but yet the election stands because that's who shows up to vote. I wish there would have been 100% of the people would have shown up and voted for the street lighting, but that wasn't the case. So I'm hoping that I've answered most of those questions, and if I have forgotten any or brushed over or didn't quite explain it, please raise your hand and I'll be happy to clear it up. Yes, ma'am.
You said that I've been living out here since 2006, and about after the second year, they told us that the lighting, which is $53.10, is on my bill for
Yes.
LED. I've never had $1 on my water bill. I save my bills. All of a sudden, in the last 2 months, they put an additional $1 on my water bill, and I was told at the tax assessor's office that they cannot tax you twice for the same thing.
Okay, if you're getting a water, on your water bill for the lights.
Yes,
you
and
need
it's
to-
right here.
Okay, ma'am, you need to come into the office and meet with our general manager. He will look into that. Because if you haven't been charged for it, then no, we can't put it on your bill,
On my water bill.
on your water bill.
That's what I told Steve Perez. He's not here tonight. And he talking about everybody. No, it never was on my bill before.
Okay, well, that's fine. Then we can clear that up.
Okay,
We can clear that up.
he wrong.
What I would like to know, is it any way to reverse this? That's what I would like to know, because I don't agree with it, and you know, even with your explanation, I don't agree to it. I think a person should have a right to make that decision, to put that on their taxes.
They're
or to
saying
pay it on the
reverse
monthly.
what?
Talking about the sewer.
Yes.
The sewer.
Well, you know
That
what?
needs to be reversed and put back like it was. I think that's ridiculous. Because a lot of people basically live month by month. And that's reality. That's the economy. And I'd rather pay it on a monthly basis and have it reversed back.
Me too.
Because I don't agree with that decision. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair for people that really have, the senior citizens, for instance,
Yeah.
that have limited incomes,
Yeah.
and to expect them. See, it may, for a person that's making maybe 100,000, 200,000, it's nothing, okay? But for people that's working every day, barely making 50,000, whatever, that's a burden on them. And I don't think you guys really thought this through. And I don't think this community was included. Because I guarantee you, if you go out and knock on some doors, a lot of people will have a lot to say about this.
You're
that
right, a lot of
own
people
homes.
have a lot to say because a lot of people didn't get the right information. But I want to ask you this. You talk about the senior citizens. And the fact is that by putting it on the property tax, we didn't raise their bill any higher than what they were already.
I
Yes, it is.
understand, I understand what you're saying, that we're still paying the same amount. But some people budgets work better paying small increments on a monthly basis than waiting to the end of the year when the taxes are due. I'd rather just pay my taxes at the end of the year. I don't want anything additional added onto my taxes, period.
Can I make a comment, folks?
I have to make a quick.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I want to ask you the answer to this. I think I know it, but a man asked me, does the mobile home park, empty mobile homes have to pay this? I was told they don't.
Speak up, please.
I was told that the mobile park, if you got an empty mobile home and an open mobile park, they didn't have to pay it. And I'm asking the question whether that's true.
That they don't have to pay?
If they got an empty mobile home,
If they got an empty mobile home, they don't have to pay sewer charges?
I'm asking that question.
Well, that's a question that really needs to be asked of our general manager, and he's not here right now.
I think we talked about that in the board meeting.
Folks, can I share something with you? This is first to address yours. When I make a comment about, first of all, I know there's different numbers in income. I know that in the 23 years that I've lived here, one of the challenges I've had is to raise my 5 children and keep up with the numbers. I know that all of us, whatever the numbers may go, all of my numbers have gone up. And I'm mindful of that. When I voted, you asked how did I vote. The reason I voted yes for it is that when the general manager presented this to us, if a vacant house sits next to you, you're paying for them to have access to it. So when they bring that tenant in there, that tenant pays for it. We constantly got folks saying, my water bill was more, and the water bill now is a true reflection of water usage. Now, I don't know what becomes the best answer for overall. You bring up the senior citizens. Every morning when I get my cup of coffee, I look at them and I wonder what can I do to help more. And sometimes I don't know. I do know that we're a small community. We don't have vast amounts of money. And I know that you have some people at the airport that they won't even blink at it. But you have some other people that they're going to have to tighten their girdles. I had made a comment once before. Is there a big problem putting $40 a month in the envelope? Perhaps there is. I don't know because I've been fortunate. But I do know that nothing was done around to purposely penalize or take advantage of someone. When he bought it to us, he told us how much money the district lost that we would never capture back again. At that point, it was about $400,000. My vote, being a good director for the entire community, not for select groups of the community, I didn't want that to happen anymore. Now, I'm fortunate, some of us may be a little bit more fortunate. I would never do. My mom lived in this community. My family lives in this community. I would never do nothing to penalize or hurt anyone. But at some point, there's a phrase that's known as the best business practice. You have to look at a practice that's going to benefit the masses, not the individuals. If you think about it, folks, I know it hurts us, but think about all the property owners that were getting a pass. Now, Brad brought up a comment several months ago about what a sewer system is versus what a water system is. The water you pay for as you use it, but the sewer has to be there because you wouldn't want raw sewage next to you, so the sewers are there. The property owners who have the rental properties, you know what they've done to a lot of them? They've passed the 40 bucks over to their tenant. I can't control that, but I want to assure everyone, it wasn't done under the table. It was something that he gave us this information, and I thought that all of us, because I pay the same rates as everyone else. Someone made mention about the meetings here. Folks, I spend more time running around Roseman and fuel costs than these meetings get me.
Don't you get mileage?
No, ma'am, let me tell you what I get. I get 100 and some bucks a meeting. But if you look at the time, for example, I was in Ventura on my own time looking at drought tolerant trees because we aren't getting any more water. And that's a whole nother category. But it's important to me. One thing, when you run for a public office, you're not going to be the most popular person. And sometimes you don't be the most liked person. But when I do leave this office, if everyone looks at the numbers in front of them, I want them to say, Rick Webb did the best job he could by everybody, not a select group. We have a select group of people here, and they're going to complain if I hand them $1 million, why don't I give them $1.1 million? Here's what I'm going to do for everyone. I do the best job I can, and I'm mindful of two things. I'm going to be older one day, I'm going to have limitations one day, so I think about that. And number two, I think about what makes this a desirable community for us all to live here. Now, the money part I'm not going to handle because I don't know your abilities financially. But if I can make it all go away, it'd go away. But you know what, folks? Here I now. It's not going away. We have to fund it. We've talked about lighting. We've talked about sewer. But ultimately, whether we have lights or not, we're going to still have sewers. And we still have to get water. So the community as a whole, you may not be happy with what we do, but please be mindful of this. When I make a decision, I don't do it because I just do it. I think about because every vote I made up here impacts somebody. Some to the plus, some neutral, some to the minus. But I've never done nothing saying, I'm going to do it because I want it done. I think about everyone. Now, do I get criticized at the post office? Every day. A guy called me stupid the other day. That's what you take. But one thing I do know, as stupid as I may be, if I took time, I looked at what I believe is the best for all of us. Not for 10 of us or 20 of us, but my entire community. I've been here for 22 years. I've raised my 5 children here, and I've done the best by them, by being involved in my community. So if the folks are mad at me, be mad at me because I thought I was doing what was best by all of us. Now, as far as this changing and all that, it's something that we didn't have to have the community to get a vote on. It was something that came up and Jim presented it to us, and we voted on it. That's how that came up, man. It wasn't something, just one second, please. It wasn't something that, like, he brought up Prop 218. We didn't change the number. We moved the counting of the number. We didn't change the overall number. And perhaps that's what stirred up some of the confusion about it because people kept saying that's a new tax. We just moved one number off one piece of paper to the other, and that creates uproar. Perhaps more input would have been taken, but I still would have made the same vote because I thought that was the best business practice for this district and our community. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have 2 questions and 1 comment. One is the question that she asked, it's not been answered. Is this a way?
I'm waiting.
It's a way that this can be reversed. Yes or no? Because
Okay,
she asked.
ma'am, okay, here's what I'm not going to vote against it again.
No,
here's
we're not
the
asking to vote.
Okay.
She asked something and she
I
hasn't
said,
been
can it
answered.
be reversed and changed back?
Yes.
That's the
Yes or
question
no?
I asked.
Which is a simple.
It is a yes
simple
and a
answer.
question.
No.
It is a yes or no?
No, that's not going to come back up.
Okay, no, okay. My second is, you know how we are, in property taxes, we are taxed from a certain month to certain month, right? So, and when exactly was that you guys decide to cut down that part in our portion of the water bill and send it to the property taxes? Is that gonna be calculated properly in our taxes?
It went into effect for July, right, ma'am?
That's next fiscal year.
July.
And
July.
have enough people that if you see around, this is the group that really knows what's going on, and they have the opportunity or their time or their guts to come and here and speak up. The rest of the community is not here. So even if they say we'll take a vote,
Because it was
look
kind of
around.
like, I
So
called
we don't-
when I
we don't
got my
have-
bill.
We don't have enough people to do
I
this.
called when I
So-
got my bill, and I was
Let's-
told about this meeting today.
Okay, I know it's some negative and some positive about the whole thing. I guess we just have to, keep going. I mean, it's like the water was increasing month by month in the past 3 years. It was awful. So now at least it's gonna stay the way it is, right? We're not going up in any other tax, any other lighting, any other sewer.
Everything we see now is where it's gonna be. The only way
Okay.
a number can go up in our community, we have to do a rate study. The
Okay,
community's part of the rate study. Now, I'll give you an example, ma'am. Several weeks ago, we discussed our budget. About 10 people showed up. We had a strategic planning meeting, about 10 people. See, one thing we do in our community, and some of the ladies here, they come to express their concerns a lot. We have other people, they'll take bits and pieces of all the conversations, and they'll say what they're not doing. But here's the one thing that I stand fast on. Everything that I vote on here, it impacts me because I get the same bill everyone else gets. Now, when am I gonna look at my bill, I'm gonna say what happened, but he brought up an interesting point. Our homes have improved in value. So that's a good thing. Now, sometimes successes come other things there. The sewer fee, if we look at that whole bill, that's probably one of the less costs, but you know what, folks? If I have the answer, I would make it better for all of us. But ultimately, the decision that Greg and myself and Byron made at the time, we were hoping to do something that was a best practice for our entire community, not for a selected group, part of the community.
Now you saying there's no way this can be reversed?
It's something that's been voted on, and it stands
I
until
think it can. I'm not sure.
It's something that's been
Okay,
voted on
because
there.
I will call
Okay,
Bakersfield
well,
and
here's what
ask
you do, please
questions.
do this for me. I will hand you my business card. If you find out anything different, you can bring it back
Will
to
you
me.
give me that
and
business
I will-
card?
yeah,
Because
well,
I will ask beyond this meeting.
That's fine.
Because I
Like
think
said,
it can be
see, one of the
reversed.
thing about it, like one lady about the dictator, we're not dictators, believe me. Like I
But
said,
that's what it feels like. It feels like
No, there's
three
5 of
people
us.
out of 5 made the decision for the whole, 3 people out of 5 made the decision for the whole
Okay, but see,
town.
did you hear the first part of
And-
the conversation?
Did
ma'am?
you guys ever think about other ways, explore other alternatives to this and present them? Because it seemed like it was only one alternative presented to
We only
this.
had one choice, either do it or not do it. We kept it on the water bill, folks complained about that. The GM said that we're losing this much money. I think the number he gave me was in the
Because
neighborhood.
you say that we should not have to suffer. You're right, we should not have to suffer for people. You should find a way to charge those people that's leaving
that is right.
those
That's
properties
right.
empty.
Yes.
And
Don't make us
that
suffer.
cost should go to them. It
That's
shouldn't
right.
go on
Here's
the
what we
people
can do.
that pay their
You can-
bills.
If you find out something different, here's my card for you, you have a cell number on it, feel free to give me a contact. If you find something different, I will ensure that you, myself, and you and the GM sit down. But like I said, when it came up, when it was done, it was something that we felt that we all would benefit from as a
So
community.
what
Well,
you're
the thing
telling
is
me
that
that
she-
you guys can take another vote on it,
No,
but you choose
No.
not to take the vote.
no, I didn't say that, ma'am. I did not say that. The
That's,
comments you just said, that you were gonna call them, you were gonna call Bakersfield.
yeah, well, I will, because
said if
I'm
you
not
found- if you
satisfied
found
at this
something
meeting at
different,
all. I just think
if-
you guys are just telling people what you want to tell them to satisfy and to get them out your face. I don't think you really care about this being on our bills, and you're not even listening to what the people are saying.
Yes, we are listening.
No, you're
Ma'am,
not. You're not. You're not listening. You
Ma'am,
wasn't
can I-
listening when
can
you
I speak,
started, and
please?
you're still not.
Can I speak, please?
You go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. You know, what Director Webb said, and the same thing is, that at the time that we made the vote, we did it for what we felt was the best for the community as a whole. No, we know that we take our votes up here, there's 5 of us, and we have votes up here every meeting.
Are you guys elected to this board?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know, we take votes every meeting. Does it mean that everybody, you know, should we only take a vote if everybody agrees with it, or do we make, see, the community elects 5 people to sit up here and to make decisions for the community as a whole with what we feel is in the best interest of the community. And if not, then why have a board up here? If you're gonna just let the entire community, if you can't get the entire community to agree, this is no different than your state legislature. This is no different than your Congress or your Senate. you know, there's never 100% vote. And nobody in this country is in 100% agreement with any decision the president makes, Congress makes, the governor. It's just, the thing is that who is ever sitting there, you make a decision that you feel is the best for the community. That's what I base my decisions on. Because at the end of the day, you know, I am your friend, I am your neighbor, I shop at the same stores, we stand next to each other at Albertson's line. I live here too. This is my community, this is my home. I've raised my 5 children here as well. And so, you know, we're not going to always agree. And that's okay, that's fine. But the most important thing is, and I love to see these people out here, because I like to get this dialogue, because, man, even though you may not agree with me at the end of the day, at least you've heard my reason why.
Well, I usually don't agree with anyone to get into my pocketbook,
Okay, I understand that.
especially when I'm not willing to give the money up. I like to have a say on how I spend my money.
But,
And I would like to know what Alfred
Yeah.
voted no against it. Can I hear your reasons why you felt that you needed to vote no?
I understand what you're saying, I understand what they're saying, they want to do what's best for the community and give the district more money. I understand all that. But I just went to a conference, and you paid for it. And
Say it again.
I just went to a conference, and you paid for it, and it was to get the foundation so we could have a district of distinction. And they taught me how to get along with the board, how to, if we don't agree and stuff like this. But they said our primary focus is the public. They said that's our primary focus, the public. And I knew this situation for the district was good, but I was concerned about you. I knew you wasn't gonna like it. And to me, you're paying some of that in advance. When you
Some of the
pay
what?
Some of it in advance.
in
You are.
advance when you pay your first installment. And it's hard to pay a lump sum like that.
Yes, it is.
And I'm mistaken of you, that's the reason I'm against it. That's about it. And the conference did tell me that my primary focus is the public.
I want to say thank you for
appreciate
thinking of
that.
the people of
Thank you.
Rosamond. But I also wanted to say, people, property owners, say like that own apartment buildings, are you saying that when they are vacant, no sewage bill is being paid for?
Not apartments.
We're talking more single family.
Not apartments.
Apartments are basically they go all.
Apartments pay it all the time.
It's more than single family homes. And you have
They
several
pay it all the time.
property owners that own multiple properties. And again,
I see.
when Red explained it, and you may want to explain it again, he explained the difference between the water, the way the water is done versus the sewer, the way they're in place. And perhaps after the meeting, you can catch him, he'll explain it to him, but the Alfred brought up a good point. His vote in his position, but at the end of the day, we want to believe whether we vote yea or nay to something that we've done the best. Sometimes, perhaps we miss it. There are a lot of people here that aren't real happy, but ultimately, will I be 1,000% correct all the time? No, I won't. But you brought up the fact about your beliefs and what you felt in your heart. At the time I did that, I was thinking that was the best decision for Roseman and the entire community.
I've been here for 22 years. I've been here since 1994. And this is the first time since I have been up here in the 22 years that I feel decisions that are being made for this town, they are not at the best interest of the people. And I know that we will not always agree. I think in terms of agree to disagree whenever you're making decisions on people. But I just think in my heart, I don't think that you are thinking of the people, because I pay my water bill. I pay my sewage bill every month. It doesn't matter. I just pay a flat rate. If it's $60, I still pay what? $100. So I just have a carryover. So, because that's how I do mine. But I just, in my heart and soul, I don't think that you were thinking of the community, of the people, when you made that decision. You say that you were, but that's just my belief. I don't think that you were representing the people when you made that decision. I really don't. And it's like you said, if you had to vote it again, maybe you wouldn't. But then, like you're saying, we won't bring it up again to vote it. And once a lot of times things have passed.
And then there's another way we can also look at it, ma'am, and I can agree with what you said. Funds, revenues that aren't captured. Greg earlier said that when the rate study was done X amount of people paying into the system. Then, say this November, we came out, so we were doing another rate study to go up on the rates. That would come back on us too. It's not a perfect system. If I knew the answer for the perfect system, we'd try to apply it. Like I said, I don't know. Some of us are more fortunate than others when it comes to dollar amounts. Ma'am, I'm not trying to get in your pocket with that there. When it came up, we were doing what we thought was best by all, not a few. But like I said, every time we go around, we'll get you 1 second. Each and every time something comes up, some of the debates go on, some of the things asked about the lighting. We had a lighting for over 6, 7, 8 months. One thing I never asked about the lighting is we still were in a deficit. We came out of pocket to pay the lighting. Everyone worries about their sector of the lighting. They don't worry about the community as a whole. So I don't have the answers to all of it, but why I will tell you this, we'll keep working towards getting it right for all of us. And maybe we'll get close. Maybe we'll never get it all right, but we'll keep working towards that. And I think you have a question, sir.
Just a question, how does, if anybody knows, how does Lancaster and Palmet pay their sewer bill?
On the property tax.
On their property?
Orange Hills, the property tax.
Most Kern counties don't. Most water
Kern
districts,
County doesn't.
they don't do it.
But I just like to say, why is Mojave's fees so much cheaper in their water than Roseland? No one has never answered that question. And I understand that we have to pay, because that's the way, that's the American way. But it's the way that you do things. I'm in agreement with this young lady. I am not a dumb person. I'm executive secretary. That's what I retired as. The board needs to find an alternative, adopt a policy for the vacant parcels, because if the parcels are vacant, how is sewage being used when no one is there? Hello?
I'll be happy to answer that.
Thank you.
You know, one thing you need to be concerned about, just want to throw this out to you, there's a rumor going around you can take that off of your income tax. My accountant said you cannot. He said if you can't take it off your water bill, you cannot take it off there. So you need to check with your accountant before you do that.
No, I didn't say I was putting it on my.
Okay.
No, I've heard that, I'm just saying there's a rumor going around.
I will go ahead and explain to you about how the sewer system works. And hopefully everybody can understand this. Your water system, you are paying for a commodity that you're using. Every gallon of water that comes into your house, you're paying for that water.
That's not my question. I
Ma'am,
asked, why was the Mojave being less?
I don't know why Mojave is less than us. You'll have to ask Mojave. They have different bills than we've got. They've got, don't have the infrastructure we have. Maybe they don't have as big of wells with the electricity bills for them. I don't know. I can't answer the question of why Mojave's cheaper than we are. But as for the sewers, you know, you pay for your water to come into the house, and you pay on the usage, and you also, there's a base charge that pays for the infrastructure and to deliver that water to your property. The sewer system is different. The sewer system is there. It had to be put in, it has to be maintained, it has to be repaired, and whether sewage is going into it or not, it still has to be cleaned and serviced and everything else. When a house is hooked up to a sewer system, it's there to receive sewage. It's a reception system, it's not a delivery system. And also what people don't understand about sewers, and part of the sewer fee is to go in for improvements on the system, and to, so if you've got a sewer there, what will happen is that you got a sewer line that's designed for the current homes, 5,000 homes that we have, and maybe to absorb another 2,000 or 3,000 homes. At some point, that sewer system is going to become overtaxed. And so therefore, you're going to have to relieve that system. In other words, you're going to have to dig up the street, you have to put in a sewer line next to it, a larger line to take up the capacity. It's, so whether, if you've got people that are consistently not paying into that charge for the sewer every year, you're going to reach a point where you're not going to have the money to maintain that system properly. You're going to reach a point where you're not going to have the money to replace the line, which means we're going to have to go out and get loans to pay for that. We're going to have to go out and get a bond to pay for it. We're going to have to, in other words, put the finger on you folks that are paying it every month to pay for the money that we haven't collected over the years to pay for that sewer system. So yes, just because a house is sitting there vacant for a couple of months doesn't mean that that house is not benefiting from the sewer system. The benefit is having the system in place. The benefit is having the system hooked up to the property. That's the benefit. Because essentially all it is a receiver. You flush the toilet, you drain the water down the drain, whatever. When it goes down the drain, it's going into the sewer system. And that is what the sewer system is there. So a house sitting empty is still benefiting from the system, even if they're not using it at that particular time. So, but the important thing is that when a house sits empty, they're not paying that 40 bucks a month. And I do not feel it is fair to pass that cost on to you that pays it every month to make up for what they're not paying. That was my reason for voting. And that was to where, in the long run, down the road, I don't have to go to you folks and say, okay, we need to raise your sewer bill to 43 bucks a month to make up for this money that we're losing. That's not fair in my book. That's hurting a lot more people than just a few people that aren't paying every month. And ma'am, that would be getting into your pocketbook, because that would actually be coming in and making you pay for something you shouldn't have to be paying for. And by putting it on your property tax, we're not asking anybody for a dime more than what they're already paying. And you know, as for whether it's a write-off or not, I'm not a tax man, I don't know. But the point is that we're just simply saying we're not going to charge it by the month, because too many people are not paying their fair share like you folks are. So therefore, if it goes on the property tax, everybody's going to pay what you're paying already. So yeah, the ones that are probably upset are your people that own rental homes, because they're not paying. Now they've got to pay it. It's on their property tax. They're going to have to pay that 40 bucks a month. And maybe they haven't been paying it before. Maybe they're having their renters pay it, so therefore 2 months out of the year, 1 month out of the year, it doesn't get paid. It's no money out of their pocket. Now it is. They got to make it good. But that's okay.
So we are still gonna pay the same share that we were paying before.
Yes, you will.
So, and then how is it that now we're not gonna be paying for those who are not, who were
Okay.
not, and how we're paying before?
Okay,
So I got confused.
Okay, let me, you kind of came in late, so let me,
Oh,
what
okay.
happened is that we have, our sewer rates are based upon, I don't have the exact numbers, but a little over 5,000 connections that
Okay.
we have. And so, in order, that sewer rate is the $39 and change for a reason. That's what we, through our studies, figure out that's what we need to do all those things I said before.
Yes.
To relieve the system, to
Yes,
clean it,
yes.
to repair it, everything else.
Yes,
So, if you've got a rental house next door to you, okay, and there's a renter living in there for 9 months, there's a water bill going to that house while someone's living there. So that $40 a month is on their water bill, okay? So that sewer fee that you pay every month on your water bill is getting paid by the renter living next door to you. But then the renter moves out and that house sits vacant for 2 months before they get a new renter in there. The water is shut off because the renter was paying the water. So for 2 months, while you're still paying your $40 a month, the house next door to you that's sitting empty does not pay its $40 a month. That's when we were losing the revenue. So therefore, to plug that gap, what we did is put it on the property tax, so the property owner pays that, the equivalent of 12 months worth of sewer fees. And by doing that, it means that your rate of $40 doesn't have to go up a year from now or 2 years from now to pay for the person that's not paying.
Okay, and I do believe that when you got to that conclusion to add that to our property taxes, were many discussions and you seek other alternatives and you look around and was nothing else that you guys can do but that?
Well, right now, I don't see any other way to do it, but that doesn't mean that something down the road won't come up that we can do it a different way.
Okay.
But at the time, this was the only logical solution that we could come up with, to where, number one, I wanted to make sure that people like you and me and everybody else here that's paying for their sewer on their water bill that were, it doesn't cost us any more money out of our pocket. But the people that haven't been paying, yeah, it's going to cost them money, because the simple fact is that it's something that should be paid every month, and there was a loophole in the system to where they didn't have to pay it.
Okay. And now my question will be for Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Did he vote no? Did you have any suggestion on how to fix the problem that you guys were having?
You know what, I can hardly hear you. You need to come up here.
Here,
You're supposed to come up here.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm fine from here. Because I understand that you vote no to that proposition, right? So by doing that, did you have any suggestions? Do you have any ideas how the problem could be solved besides putting that amount in the property taxes?
No, you notice they keep saying that was approximate, wasn't the exact figure. And I don't know what the exact figure is, but no, I did not have any other ideas.
Okay.
the person that presented this idea to you, did they present any other alternatives? I mean, because it's got to be more than one way to do
No,
this.
this came up for a vote, I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago before I was on the board,
Yeah.
and they voted it down. So this is not the first time it came up.
Okay, at this point, we're getting way off public comments part, and I can see what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to agendize this for our next meeting, and we will continue this conversation. But I just want to thank everybody for their comments, and more importantly, you know, I want to see people like this at all of our meetings, because when you people are here and you're asking questions and getting questions answered, then you can take it back to your neighbors. You can talk to your neighbors about what was said and heard, but at least they're getting accurate information, because you were here, you heard it firsthand, and then you can go and talk to your friends and neighbors and stuff like this, and that's what's important. But encourage your friends and neighbors to come here to these meetings, because this is the only way that we clear up a lot of the misconceptions and get a lot of your questions answered. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close public comments and move on to items, comments, and presentations. Director's comments, and I'll start with Director Wallace.
Well, it's good to see you here. Like I said, I went to a conference and I attended several classes. I got 3 certificates. The one certificate gives the district actually points where they get money back on their workman's comp. So it almost pays for the conference. And I want to thank you for letting me go. I enjoyed it. They teach you how to get along with your board. Sexual harassment, we have to be trained in that every 2 years. And then a safety class, and that's the one they got points for. And I enjoyed it very much.
Where was the meeting?
Palm Springs, 105
Okay, Vice President Webb.
degrees.
But it's probably better off because in the San Fernando Valley was 109, so we probably made it out of it. Folks, you know what? 2 things. Thank you folks for coming here. And 2 things happened. we generate conversation, we generate thought, and we may get a different look or a different concept to apply to something. Okay. I think a lot of times when people have conversation, someone has to be right, someone has to be wrong. You know, that's why we're entitled to an opinion. But the good thing that comes out of it is you hold us accountable. She asked, you first asked who voted yes, and you found out why. Then you asked him, he voted no, did he have a solution? And sometimes, man, we don't have a solution. But the best part about it is you folks can challenge us, and no one gets mad, no one says, I can't believe they did that, because it does make us think. Now, in the thinking, do we get something resolved? Tonight we're not. We heard people's thoughts, we heard concerns. I know on the property bills, you think our bill's bad, you should look at the one I have from Los Angeles. I think I pay for everything. In LA County, Orange County, every other county on that one bill. But that's the way it is. But by us, you know, everyone knows one thing. There's parts that we don't like, and one of the ladies says some of it could be good. I don't know, but you know what? We'll keep working. Will we ever have a perfect model? Probably not, but can we keep working as a community? The one advantage we have in Roseland over the bigger communities down the way is that you're going to see me at the grocery store tomorrow. So when you round my cart or whatever, I know that you know I'm going to say it tonight, but we'll be at the grocery store. Downtown, if you were down in LA County or the bigger counties, you wouldn't be talking to the GM, you wouldn't be talking to board members because you just don't have that kind of access. So we do have an advantage, but what I want to let everybody know, two very important dates are coming up. The 22nd of this month is the Powder Puff football game. If you're not familiar with the Powder Puff football game, that's the girls at the high school, the juniors versus the seniors. I've had an advantage of having 4 daughters. I've been to a lot of Powder Puff, and it's really fun to see the girls play football. They play real competitive, they play flag, but it gets a little tough out there. So Wednesday night, I believe it's 6 o'clock. If you're not doing anything, come support the girls. That's Wednesday. And then Friday, the 24th, it's homecoming. And again, that's a big to-do for them. The football team's actually doing a little bit better this year than years past, so you may get a good football game out of it. But if you have nothing to do on Wednesday night and Friday night, let's go out there and support the kids up there. The Powder Puff football game is the juniors versus the seniors. And Friday night, it's Roseland High School boys, junior varsity playing. I don't know who they're playing, but maybe you know what God can say. Thank you, sir. Thank you folks very much.
I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening, and I appreciate everybody's comments, and I respect everybody's comments and views. And, you know, my biggest reason I like to have a room full of people voicing their opinions and stuff like that is because I can get great ideas from you people out here. You know, I'm not always the smartest person in the room, and you know, you people are all intelligent people, and you know what? You've got ideas too. There's sometimes when you know I can take what you said and helps me make my decisions up here a lot better, because if I can sit there and put into play what you guys are thinking and saying and the suggestions that you're making. So, you know, all I can do is encourage you to keep coming out and keep, you know, being a part of this. And it makes my job easier if I know what the community is thinking and what you guys are, what's on your mind and what your concerns are. And so, thank you. And with that, we'll move on to informational items.
An example of what that does is we get a 50% break on our insurance, plus we get a return of about $12,000 when we complete those CIP points. So it's a big bonus for the district to attend those. And a good segue is Director Glenning has completed his governance, which is all of those mandated classes that are necessary and for his education in special districts and dealing with a district such as ours. In addition to that, we received, the district did, the SDRMA Outstanding Leadership for Risk Management and Safety Programs Award. I don't know if you have it there, Mr. President, or not, but there were only 2 special districts that were awarded the Outstanding Leadership Award. And that's really a feat that we've been trying to do. It falls hand in hand in all of the things that we're trying to complete. And the community has been real good at being patient enough. I know they're frustrated with how things operate, but we're trying to achieve that district of distinction and be transparent. Our website, our new website will be coming up soon. We have all of the transparency requirements by law on the new website, as well as our current website, the minutes of all the meetings, everything that goes along with that. And it's quite a feat to achieve that. So we're trying to get that all done. These are things that have not been done in the past, and everybody's working extremely hard to get them done. The other part of that is the strategic plan. A strategic plan is a 5-year plan that the district has undertaken, and thanks to the community that participated in commenting on the strategic plan, I've got to report today that the strategic plan is complete. It's going through just the edits for the final document to be presented to the board at the October 22nd meeting. One other thing is that the district goes through every year when people wonder what happened with the revenues in the district and how we deal with those revenues and why we collect them and everything. We undergo a very stringent audit every year. John, I have a copy of this audit, and I'm going to go ahead and run with it. Okay. With the audit, the interim report that has come back was the control testing was performed from June 30th through July 2nd. At that time, for the auditors to test and inspect the internal controls over the financial reporting by performing inquiries, walkthroughs of transactions, and sampling. Interim work went exceptionally well, they've reported. The district staff was cooperative and attended to the needs and requests of the auditors, and the audit firm staff was well trained. They concluded their work a day and a half early due to the staff readiness and alertness, stating that this was one of the smoothest interim work that they had done at the district. Their field work was performed at the district from September 2nd to the 4th, and at that time was set for the auditors to examine the final balance and compromise the district's financial position. And the district staff was well prepared and work was performed without incident. The future timeline for our audit, following dates have been discussed and agreed on by the auditor and the district. Wednesday, October 22nd, the auditor will provide the district draft financial statement for review and comment. Thursday, November 27th, the auditor will provide drafts of completed financial statements for inclusion in the board packet. Wednesday, December 3rd, the auditor will present financial statements to the financial committee. And Wednesday, December 10th, the auditor will present financial statements to the board of directors. Between October 22nd and November 5th, the district staff will prepare and provide to the auditors the management discussion and analysis, responses to their findings and recommendations, if applicable, and any final comments and changes prior to the final. And I just got to say that if anybody has been through a financial audit, it's worse than an IRS audit of your tax statement. They go through everything, and my hat's off to district staff for their work that they put into providing the auditors the necessary information for them to complete the audit. Another thing is, and it's coming up on the ballot in November, is the water bond. And the water bond is something everybody in the state in regard to water is looking at. It's something that is felt that is necessary at this time. But what it means to the water bank and to Roseman itself is it could place Roseman and the Willow Springs Water Bank, which is formerly known as the Antelope Valley Water Bank, as a premier water storage facility in the state of California. We are permitted and ready to store water. There's no other storage facility above ground that is ready at this point. So it could mean that there's a lot of water going to be placed into the water bank, infrastructure potentially being built with bond money from the state. So we're looking forward to that. I have a meeting next week with officials in Sacramento in regard to placement of water in the water bank and for various purposes in the area. So those are positive things that are coming down, and we're looking forward to working on those issues as well. I got to point out the water bank, the assets in the water bank currently are in excess of $4 million if you look at today's price for water, and at an expense of about $1.6 million. So it's a positive asset of about $3 million, and everybody will tell you you can't claim that as an asset until it's pulled out of the ground and sold or utilized to offset the cost. But suffice it to say that our water is a valuable commodity as well as an asset that is currently in the water bank. We're looking to hopefully increase the assets without having to spend more of our money to do so. So we're still working on that. So that's the end of my report this evening. I want to congratulate Director Glennon for accomplishing the governance portion of the training modules, and because it takes a lot of time in those classes to achieve that. I also want to thank Director Wallace for his attendance and his attentiveness in finding the CIP training classes and taking those on. When everyone takes a piece of those classes and achieves the CIP points for the district, we all save money in doing that. So with that, thank you to you both, and Mr. President, I'm concluded.
I finished that, so I didn't know if you knew that or not. And also, I seen in the paper where the mine, is it Summer Queen or Golden Queen, is talking to us about getting water from us?
Golden Queen.
Huh?
Golden Queen.
Golden Queen, did you hear me?
Steve, did you hear Director Wallace?
He was broken. I couldn't hear everything. I did hear that he had completed it. I did not know that he had completed that, and my hat's off to him also. I think he'll be formally recognized with that accomplishment at the next meeting.
And also the water.
And also he read about the water going to the Golden Queen mine.
They're talking to us.
They're talking to us.
Yes, I have been talking with Luke in regard to the recycled water. They have to get up and running, and then they're analyzing that, but they're still on board to taking on the cost of building line and the pumping facility for that. One thing I forgot to mention also at the CSDA conference that Directors Glennon and Wallace were at, I was elected president of the California Special Districts Association, and it's representing some 2,300 special districts around the state. I'll take that office beginning in January, and it will not increase my work any more than I have for the past 3 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions of our general manager? Okay, with that, move on to Assistant General Manager, Public Works Superintendent, Mr. Houghton.
Well, I'm sorry I had to run out of a meeting. The gentleman that come up to me earlier notified me that we had a water leak over on Elm Street, so I ran out to get it checked out, but the on-call person had arrived about the same time, and we got a crew out there fixing it. In the last couple of weeks since the last board meeting, we've had 6 service line leaks. Also repaired 3 angle stops. They continue to install the new meters. Today alone, we got 44 of them installed. And then we got our approval from the DHS to move water from the water bank. So we've installed the necessary piping. We've installed the necessary piping to send the water to Roseman.
Great.
And that's all I have.
All right, and consent calendar, item 4, approve AP list from 9/2/14 to 9/29/14.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Director Webb, seconded by Director Wallace. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, item 7, outstanding items, written communications and requests for future agenda items. I would like to request that the discussion of the sewer bill on the property tax be put on the next agenda, so that way we can take the proper time necessary to answer everybody's questions and concerns.
Okay, Greg, I should have done them on director's comments, but can I make one last comment?
Sure.
Folks, myself and a group of other folks, we've been discussing perhaps starting a farmer's market for Roseman. If anyone has any interest with it, we're trying to set up a meeting date, and with all our scheduling, it's been kind of dynamic, but I'll be here after the meeting. If anyone has any interest in being part of the council initial group, we're just going to discuss to see if there's any interest in maybe do kind of a feasibility type thing, asking some folks. If anyone has any interest in it, being involved in the initial meeting, see me after, and I'll get your name and whatever in an email. That seems to be the easiest way to contact one another, to see if you'd like to come. We're going to meet here, and it'll be for about 45 minutes to an hour to see if it's worthwhile to do it and see what kind of interest that we can gather up from a group to kind of push that forward.
I want to help you start that.
Okay.
The garden.
Also, I would
Yeah.
like to add
Yes.
before we adjourn, I would like to invite anybody next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We're going to be having, for the Roseman Cancer Walk, Run, and Ride, we're going to be having the event that we just concluded last month. We're going to be having our wrap-up meeting and get everything done and start planning for next year's event. If anybody's not aware, it's a 24-hour event that we put on here in this community through this agency and through the foundation and Southern Kern Unified School District to raise money for cancer research. And this year we raised money for the 2nd year in a row for the American Cancer Society. So I hope to see everybody here that wants to be a part of this next Wednesday. And with that, item 8, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Director Webb, second by Director Wallace. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 7:30.